Alright everybody, welcome back to part 3 of the D-19 with the 426 polo tractor build. If you happen to miss part 1 and part 2, there's a link in the description of both of those videos, as well as a video of going to the AC salvage yard to pick the two parts up, the engine and the chassis, if you're interested in that. So today we're going to be working on mainly chassis. I hope to get to at least kind of setting the engine together and getting it figured out what exactly has to happen to get that in, get the starter in and everything, and a couple of surprises that I have to deal with when I get to that point, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Today, first thing I'm going to be doing is taking this plate off of the transmission here. Shifter is stuck. Good thing about that though, there's actually oil in there, so that's good. So it might not be too bad of an issue. But I got to get that plate off of there to see what exactly is wrong. I've got some footage that I'm going to roll for you here of getting this thing off of the trailer, so I'll go ahead and roll that and I'll bring you back and show you what's inside. So as you've seen, we had to put the tractors to work together to get it off, but we got it done, and here it's set for a couple of months, finally working on it. This is what's inside of here. Good news and kind of bad news. It's not very good, but it'll probably clean up and be just fine. But the good news inside of here, you got these are the shift collars. This one I can't get to go in, but like this one's in gear. You can see all of these that grab it go into gear. Try to get you a good view in there. Got a little bit of wear, and like third gear's got a little bit of, you can see where they had grounded in a bit. However, from my experience, there's no reason that this tractor won't stay in gear. So I think I got a good transmission out of the whole ordeal anyway, so I'll get a little bit more in depth in the transmission once I get it cleaned up and everything moving properly. But what it looks like, all the sliders are going to move, and all the collars, whatever you want to call them, and I think we're in good shape here, actually. So that's what that looks like. Why it won't move is the main reason. Gotta get that cleaned up somehow, get some penetrating oil on it to begin with, and I gotta take this over. I'm getting the shifter modified, and I'll show you what's going on there. Next part, I gotta go to the same machine shop. Is kind of why I'm doing this at once. and get a couple pieces of tube steel. These are just a tad bit bigger around. It's 1/8 of an inch. So you get a 1/16 inch wall tube steel and put inside of there. I also need to grind this keyway out a little bit. And then it goes right on there and boom, 9-bolt press steel on the D19. Pretty simple and cost effective. So there are lighter hubs obviously, but by the time you take that cast out of the centers, you lose so much weight that that's a small bargain. So I'm gonna get over to the machine shop. I won't bring you guys along for that. We'll see you back out front here. So what I did there was just took a cutting wheel and basically took just a little bit more than a blade length, width, whatever you want to call it, off of each side. A little overzealous there, but it'll be fine. Now I'm just going to take a grinding wheel and grind that out of there and hope it fits. And voila, I think I hope. So there it is. I don't know, my brother got a set of these for his pulling 19 and he had to put shims in here, but from measuring, I know he knows how to read a tape measure and I know how to read a tape measure, but these must be a tad bit different because they fit. They're the same size as the shaft. Just had to grind that keyway down, so that was easy. The pipe that I needed for the oil pump on the engine came, so now we can button that up the rest of the way, get the oil pan on it and everything. So it looks a lot less decrepit already. Just a pair of tires. These tires I borrowed from my brother. They're not the ones that I'm going to be using unless I absolutely can't find anything over the winter. Then he probably won't mind if I borrow them for a little bit until I find myself a set. But either way, works out pretty good. These were the right size. They're off of a Super 88. My brother, they weren't quite sure what they were off of. They thought it was off of a Super 88, but these are Super 88. The only difference was this keyway that I boogered up a little bit, but it'll be fine. Good to go. Nelson, I don't know what to tell you about them yellow jackets because it's like 26 degrees out right now and he's just flying around in here. Look at him. Get away from me. So we're getting fluids drained out now. I owe my brother a favor, so he's using the tractor there, my manure spreader. Bob's gonna haul it for him, so that's the first time that's been used. They got my GoPro and they're gonna take a video. My brother just started his channel, so I will put a link to that video in the description below. You guys go ahead and check that out. He's got a few shorts on there and a couple of videos. D19 trying to pull a big forklift out, but moving on with my project. All right, so that's cleaned up for the most part. I'm gonna do one more spray of brake clean, and Bob's been working on this top plate and has got it all cleaned up, so we're gonna clean this up and put this top plate back on quick. So all right, been a little bit since I've worked on it, about a week or so. Haven't been feeling too good. 105-degree temperature last week, and well, this week, and it hasn't been very good. But I'm out here today. I try to get a little bit done. I want to talk about what we got done before. As you can see, pretty much bare bones chassis at this point. Some things have changed, I think, with how we're going to do this. Been putting some thinking into it. I think I'm going to scrap this whole front end and start off with something a little different. I'll bring you down and I'll talk about that. We got this back on. It works. Everything goes into gear as it should. So that's nice. That'll have to be sandblasted again, obviously, but we knew that was going to happen. I got that off of there. It's actually at the machine shop. They're building the plate for me. So that'll be a flat cover, and then the weight brackets will be bolted on. And I'm gonna have two sets. We'll have two hanging sets of suitcase weights here. So I'm gonna need the weight in the back of this thing to get weight transfer, and we're gonna make sure that I got enough weight placement to do that. Still got to get these off, which I got these to move and everything. I'll be able to get them. Not a huge deal, just got to feel good enough to do it. I've also got a plate coming for down here, which I still got to take the hydraulic pump out of there, but then that'll just be getting a 1/2-inch steel plate. What I wanted to do today, what I'm going to try to do today, the brakes are locked up on this, but I knew I'd have to take them apart. But either way, you guys see this bracket in which it comes off right here. You can take it off, but then you've got all this extra steel right here on this outer cover for the brake. Now on a 190, all of this stuff isn't here, because 190 the fenders bolt onto the side of the platform and the fuel tank. But basically, by putting 190s on here and minus the fenders, you know, you drop like another 100 pounds. So I've still got to get that done and see what I need to order for the brakes, because we want them to work. Brakes are actually pretty important on a pulling tractor. So yeah, I think that's about what I've got accomplished on the chassis here. Bring you over and show you what we're doing with everything. So here's pieces. Need to get a whole new pan for the seat. But pieces that are just kind of started the process on right here, and didn't get much sandblasting done on that. We got a nice little winter wonderland of sand here. Bring you in. Here's the console. It's about 3/4 of the way sandblasted off. Once it gets to be like 20 degrees outside, things start freezing up and sandblaster don't work right anymore. So, and then like I said, everybody got sick in the household, so that's how far we made it. There's the back plate sandblasted off. Here's the engine, which I didn't get a lot done to it either, but I did get the water pump on there, the intake and valve cover. Here is the intake, fan blade, bracket for the alternator, line for the would go to the oil cooler, which is the oil cooler is getting bypassed. And then right there, that little black donut is the harmonic balancer. Here is the oil pan, the cover for the fuel pump gear. I'll bring you over and show you why that's not on yet. So here is the oil pump. When we got the pipe here, I went to start messing with it, cleaning it up, and I noticed this freeze plug right here. Well, what appears to be a freeze plug. All right. So inside of this tube right here, this is the pickup on this end. So that's where the pickup there would go for the suction. So inside of there, I'm not going to be able to get you a video of it by any means, but there's a spot. I'm sorry about the light here. Very gloomy day out. There's a spot in here that separates like two chambers that would fit in. But then there's this spot here that you would think a freeze plug would go there too. Now, both of these are suction out of here and out of there, both of them chambers, so I don't think that there'd be one inside of there. But as you see, you know, this is smaller than that hole. But I think that it broke out, and what's left of the ring is somewhere else, probably in the oil pan that we cleaned out already. When you look at diagrams, there's two pumps that they used in the 426 Allis Chalmers. Well, that's what they show, and neither one of them are this pump. The way that this comes in, it's all completely different. There's like a whole nother section of this. I don't know, this engine came out of a snowmobile groomer, so I don't know if this something to do with the cold weather, high altitudes with the freeze plug in it. Because any of the diagrams that, like I said, this isn't even it's non-existent. This piece isn't here. It's just a coupler that goes on with that hose. So anyway, I was a little bit at a loss, but I got to get a freeze plug, and I'm sure it's just going to go here. So that's why the oil pan isn't on yet. A little bit of an issue that I think I've got sorted out. Alright, so I want you guys to take note to these frame rails. You see how they're straight down? And they come, and then they bolt in right there. Alright? So I'm going to take you down to my solution. Just keep in mind how these are shaped. Alright, so this is the front end of that 200 that we got, that the 301 came out of, that's in Bob's D-19. So, if you notice, these rails, if I can get in, you see how they bump out? They bump out and then come down, making that just a little bit wider. Now, get down maybe at this angle, you can see a little better. You can see the bump out here. All right, now these are the same. I know for a fact that these measurements are the same. Now another nice thing about these is that they're about 6 inches longer, which is almost exactly what I needed to add to get it. Now, you see the flat fronts here, how they bolt on the side. So now that opens up front ends that I get to use. I'm thinking WD front end. Turn you around here. Where is it? Here's a WD right here. See? Now we're drinking. Lighten up the front end. Lose a little bit of that extra weight that I'm adding for the engine. Help out with weight transfer. You guys see what I'm getting at. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. See, one of the problems is the steering shaft is over on this side, which, you know, gearbox, I'm going to have a gearbox on this tractor to get my steering right. So, you know, what's the difference if it has to run over there? I guess I don't know. Haven't made it that far yet. Like I said, cross that bridge when you get there. There's a solution for everything, no matter how bad it sounds. So, I'm not exactly sure how the whole 200 rails and everything is going to work out. It might not be how it all goes together when it's all said and done, but it's something that I'm tossing around in my head. And I like the idea of having them rails because it widens everything up. Gives me room for my for the lower radiator hose. I was gonna have to cut the inlet on the engine and do some stuff, and don't have to modify anything if I use the wider rails. And then who's to say we can just extend them, whatever. Anyway, you guys will see how that comes together. Still got to get the platforms off of this. This is getting bypassed. There's not going to be any filter on it anymore. It just plugs there, and like I said, get the platforms off of it, and then brake covers. And it's going to be a couple of weeks of sandblasting and painting. Unfortunately, I decided to paint this thing, so you guys won't see another video coming for a while. I won't bore you guys with all the paint and stuff. but the next time that you see the chassis, should be about painted. So yeah. Alright, so I got more talking done in this video than actual work, but that's kind of where we're at here, is just moving slow and taking our time putting stuff together. Told you I'd show you what the shifter was going to be. That's going to be on the shifter knob. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'm going to take it apart and paint it orange, of course. But I told you I'd show you that. Got an idea with how to get it mounted on there solid and everything. So, but like I said, we got a lot of paint to do and sandblasting and stuff. So I don't know how much good footage that I'll have to add to this video. So I'm gonna just call this the end of the video here, and thank everybody for watching. And it's gonna be a couple of weeks before you see another video on this, but in that video we should get leaps and bounds done at that point. So yeah, like I said, I'd like to appreciate everybody for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one.